This paper fits in the broader literature of factors, timing, tilting, rotation. My colleagues at BlackRock have a forthcoming paper in the journal Portfolio Management asking a similar question through the lens of implementable, portable focus on the relationship between several embryal predators of factor performance and emphasize the importance of investment horizon. Different predictors of factors performance and relevant for different factors and different horizons. This paper addresses a hot topic in factor investing. Can investors outperform through dynamic allocation across equity style factors? Without giving it all away, the answer is yes, but with the caveats. The authors focus on the relationship between several imperial.
Define a factor as an attribute relating a set of securities returns. The focus on this paper is only on style factors as opposed to macro factors or other multi-asset factors. An alternative definition of a factor is a broad, persistent source of return. The key to this definition is to return the persistent over a long run horizon. The idea of factor timing is to take advantage of the fact that this is in long run.
Relating factor predictors to long-only FF factors. The authors use the long-only pharma French representative factor portfolios. Why is low volatility not a factor in your view? You specified it was in the introduction, and it is the most helpful factor in an economic downturn, especially in long-only space. Why not use other factor portfolios like MSCI indices, etc., or just construct your own? The correlations in exhibits 9 to 11 provide some full sample insights. I think there are some typos in the exhibit descriptions. I had a hard time figuring out why they were showing. It is not surprising that the relationship between the predictors and the factor returns is highest at longer horizons. The authors realize cherry-picking factor predictors is important, but the key with factor investing is relying on the long-run performance of the factors. Part of the reason certain predictors may not seem to work so well in Exhibit 14 is because of the portfolio construction technique being used by FF, rather than simply the predictor itself. However, it is the case that predictors have cyclicality in out-of-sample performance, but that's why they should be combined in the portfolio construction process.
Business cycle indicators and factor performance. It is the opinion of this distance that without a doubt the single most important predictor of future factor performance is the economic regime. The figures to the right show of the economic regime indicator we use in our factor rotation strategy, as well as the unconditional and regime conditional shape of ratios. Indeed, understanding the future economic regimes will not only aid in understanding when a single factor might outperform a market cap index, but it can also have potential predictive information as to when one factor insight might outperform another factor insight. Example, in expansions, momentum and value will on average outperform the remaining style factors in equalities. This should be fundamental to any factor timing strategy.
I am going to explain about bringing factor timing together. The paper focuses 90% of its effort on the relationship between factor predictors and the long-only FF factor portfolios. It's only in the very last section, last paragraph, that the authors show a more holistic approach to factor timing, though they don't go into many details about the construction of the portfolio. More work can be done here, and this in line with the paper cited previously, and could be the model presented in that paper is actually implementable. Is this one? What instruments are being used? How are the instruments constructed? How the predictors constructed? And so on and so forth. This is the interesting part. It's the giving up the secret sauce. The authors say this, but it bears repeating. A strategic portfolio equally weighted across diversifying equity style factors will outperform a market cap index.